So good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Glad to see you here. We have a special treat in store for you guys today, and it is going to be none other than the infamous Dr. Albert J. Lowry, PhD. Dr. Lowry has been around this business for well over 40 years, probably coming up on 50. And rather than reading a script to introduce him, what I'd like to do is introduce a really good friend to you guys. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about him. Um, and my introduction might seem a little bit long, but it's important because this is somebody that if you're in this business, you have to know him. You have to know him and you have to know him well and you have to listen to him. Dr. Lowry created this business. Almost 50 years ago, Dr. Lowry found himself in the real estate investing business. He was actually a real estate broker for a little while and then realized that the way to make money was to do creative things, that he could make a lot more money, sell a lot more properties, buy a lot more properties for investment purposes and flip purposes and so forth by being able to get in and legitimately take over existing loans and legitimately put people in property with or without down payments and with minimal credit qualifications and so forth. So from that, he created an industry that was taken over the years by his students, and his students are pretty impressive people. If you're in this business, you know them well. Carlton Sheets, Robert Kiyosaki, Robert Allen, Ron McGran, Wright Thurston, Robert Sheeman, and on and on and on. Just about anybody that's in the business as a leader today or has been in the past is someone who was trained by Dr. Al Lowry. So some of his exploits have included headlining with people like Donald Trump, Susie Orman, Tony Robbins, George Foreman, Peter Lowe, Phil Town, Mark Victor Hansen, Chris Johnson, Raymond Aaron, George Ross, Senator Orrin Hatch, New York's mayor, former mayor now, Rudy Giuliani, Zig Ziglar, on and on. So understand that if you want to talk to somebody who understands rags to riches, and that's where a lot of us are today, you talk to Dr. Albert Lowry. He spent his childhood in orphanages and in all kinds of um, uncomfortable situations. So he was a foster child for a lot of years. He was in orphanages and so forth. And he's a real, true rags to riches kind of guy. He's been featured. And I told you this is going to be kind of a long introduction because it's so important. He's been featured in the New York Times. He's been featured in Money Magazine, People Magazine. He's appeared in TV shows, radio shows, Wall Street Week, Today Show, Regis and Kathy Lee, Merv Griffin, Larry King. So understand that when you're listening to Dr. Lowry talk, you're hearing someone who really knows what he's talking about and is the reason that the rest of us out here can talk about the stuff that we do. So his first book, published by Simon and Schuster, was called "How You Can Become Financially Independent by Investing in Real Estate," and he earned the honor of appearing on the New York Times bestseller list for 3 consecutive years. That's incredible. He also wrote outstanding bestseller "How to Become Financially Successful by Owning Your Own Business" and "How I Turned $1,000 into $1,000,000" and so on. So here's the last part of the introduction. This is something I want you to know for a very good reason. Dr. Lowry's got a master's degree in real estate. He's earned a PhD in business administration from Cal Western University. He's a member of the Academy of American Exchangers Hall of Fame, and perhaps the biggest single honor awarded to any individual engaged in real estate. That's the Hall of Fame award. And he's a certified business consultant, a certified property manager, and a graduate of the Realtors Institute. Not only does he hold a certificate in management from the University of Southern California, he's also been named Kiwanian of the Year, Associate Realtor of the Year, and member of the Academy of Authors. So having received the Real Estate Info Business Lifetime Achievement Award in 2010, he's also received Speaker of the Year Award, the annual Internet Supermarketing Conference, and so on. So without droning on any further, guys, I just wanted you to know the power and intensity of what this gentleman provides to us in this business. So what I'd like to do now is ask a very, very, very dear, kind, gentle, wonderful guy to say a few words to you. Dr. Lowry, how are you this morning?
How are you, Al?
I'm wonderful, thank you.
You're looking good. Dr. Lowry, how are you this morning?
I am marvelous, thank you, Bill, and I'm glad to be with you on your show.
Super. Where's your engineer there?
I'm right here, Bill. Go ahead. I had to turn up Dr. Al's speaker.
Oh, okay. Well, here we go, folks. There we went, folks.
You're on. You're on, Al.
Today is the day we make no mistakes.
Thank you very much, Bill. I'm sorry about having the communication problem here, but first of all, I'm just so happy to be with you, actually, being a person as famous as you are and inviting me to your show. But you know, in talking about investing, that type of thing, a lot of your viewers today are probably sitting there, you know, wanting to get themselves going. And a lot of them actually would really like to be financially independent, but they maybe need a little, you know, a little bit of a push somehow. And when they tune in, some of them in turn have got financial problems, some have credit problems, some are trying to buy their first property, some in turn have investment problems, etc. But the bulk of the people tuning in right now, they need more money. And with our economy as it is, there is a lot of solutions for them to gain that financial security and independence. So it's a matter of understanding. Now, we're all looking for that retirement. Every time we turn on a TV or radio show, etc., we're hearing about, oh, you might need about 30 years of planning for that retirement. So we have to look at as to what is the position for that retirement. Now, first of all, I'm not clicking actually to make the thing go to the next slide. So we need a little bit of help. It's not working.
You clicking on your left clicker button?
I'm pressing the down button, but there's nothing
How
happening.
about enter on your...
Rusty's come in to help on that.
There you go.
Yeah, we're not getting it to work.
We'll get it.
We'll get it. Oh, it's great to have some good technicians. Well, here you are. We've got it there, actually. And we were talking about the fact we're hearing about the fact that you need about 30 years for retirement. And at the age of 65, the government is telling us what you and I might be doing. 22% working because of choice or need, 28% collecting welfare, or they're on total dependence on Social Security. 45% depend on family. Imagine you work for 30 or 40 or 50 years, and you got to ask your children for a handout in that retirement. 4% financially secure, and then there's that 1% we all hear about, the rich to wealthy. Now, the major thing for us to understand is how much money do we need for that retirement, and the average American does not have enough money for retirement. So there's articles written all the time. USA Today, they claim that you need at least $1 million to retire. Now, the thing is, you have to ask yourself a question. How old am I now? If I'm supposed to be retired at 60 or 65, I've got 25 to 30 years to live without a paycheck. How's my savings? And the interesting thing is that article there that was in USA Today was in the spring of 1995, which said you need $1 million at that time. Today they're talking about a minimum of $2 million for retirement. So if this is the case, then why is it certain people who may not have a great education, that type of thing, become wealthy? Well, the interesting thing is they learn the business principles that are used throughout the world to get rich. The first one is leverage. You see, it does not matter as to what the interest rate is you pay for the use of money. It's how much money can you make as a result. Going back to 1982, I in turn borrowed money from the Bank of America at 22% interest, and I was glad to get the money because I could make 50%, so I could afford to pay the 22. So understanding leverage is how it makes you rich. We also look to appreciation, the growing in value of the asset, but we force appreciation. A lot of us have seen a house, somebody bought it, fixed it up, put it back to the market, changed its value, and as a result made a good amount of money. We also look to the area of having income producing properties. Now, the thing is, a lot of people buy real estate that doesn't make any mathematical sense. And therefore, they have negative cash flow, meaning you've got to take money out of your pocket in order to have the privilege of saying, I own it. Well, what we look for is something that we can buy on a wholesale level. And when we buy it wholesale, we then, of course, improve the property, which improves the income to the property, and we have cash flow. Now, the thing is, we can prove as to what our cash flow is going to be 90 days after we have purchased a property. So we buy wholesale, and then we have retail value. But with the retail value, we now have that income, which is cash spendable each and every month. Now, because we bought this property, we get the tax benefits, which is only an entry in our tax return, enabling us to make certain tax deductions legally, ethically, and morally, allowing us to build our estate faster. And I think that's what most people are looking for. What I'm going to share with you, Bill, is I'm going to share with you a system for financial wealth and independence. And it's just a matter of getting ourselves out there and getting started. Now, when we think about this type of thing, people say, well, is this system something that's been recognized by other people to use? Well, hundreds of thousands of people over 40 years have gone ahead and taken my training and have found financial security and independence. And as you might see there on your screen, quote the New York Times, thanks to the breaks the Internal Revenue Service will give you and the infinite possibilities for creative financing that Dr. Lowry teaches you, there's no limit to the fortune you can build this way. Now, the thing is, most people don't know what the breaks are of the Internal Revenue Service. You can actually start today. You could end up at the end of the year making yourself $50,000 or $100,000 and legally, ethically, morally pay no tax on the money as provided by law. People magazine talk about my seminars being sold out as they are. I do them across the country periodically. Money magazine, they in turn came to my home at Lake Tahoe. My home at Lake Tahoe, 9,000 square feet. Indoor swimming pool, my own private jet down at the airport, and they wanted to know what was the secret that a guy like me coming from another country could find financial security so quickly and so easily. And I said, I just stopped doing what poor people do. I found out I should start copying rich people, and I found that every business operates on the same principle. All rich people work on the same principle. All successful people in real estate work on the same principle. It's called leverage, the use of other people's money. Doesn't matter what you pay for the use of it, is how do you get and create that cash flow. So when we move into the market of understanding it, then it becomes easy to understand. And I have a lot of people who are very, very famous who actually have gone ahead and sat in a chair and take my material and use the material to find financial security and independence. Many of these names, of course, you recognize, and they're all very famous multimillionaires in their own right. Down at the lower right-hand corner, you have Reggie Brooks. Now, interesting enough about Reggie Brooks, actually, he in turn was living in South Central Los Angeles. He'd never finished a grade 11. He'd worked at labor in a garage, etc. And he took my training and became a multimillionaire. And now he teaches some classes around the country. Now, the thing is that all of these people I've shown there are all students of mine taking my training. They've all become millionaires, and you could too, because it's a very simple system. But I start you right at the bottom. My assumption is you don't know anything, and I move you along that ladder quickly to find that financial security. Now, this house that we see over here was bought on a wholesale level. And that was bought by Reggie Brooks, and you'll see there's a car there. And with these two pictures there, he talks about buying the house, first of all, on a wholesale level. In fact, practically everything in the house was wholesale, even the trees out in the yard there, he got those wholesale. The car, he bought that over at the government auction, because the fact that we can buy a lot of things at government auctions and be paying just pennies on the dollar and making a lot of money very, very quickly. But you know, on that house, what was so interesting is he bought the property there, he put it up in the market, and through one simple system, he in turn made a great deal of money. Now, he was prepared to sell this house at a lot less money than he actually sold it for. And I taught him and showed him how he could make a great deal of money on that house. As a result, he made $300,000 on it. And the interesting part of it, he pays no taxes on that money, legally, ethically, and morally, no tax whatsoever, because I told him how to do it legally, so he wouldn't have to pay the tax. So what we're trying to share with you is many of these gems I'm going to share with you and what we can do. But what we have to understand is a wise person learns through the eyes of successful people. And you must learn the fundamentals. So when we talk about the fundamentals, I'm going to get into areas that are important for you. One, how we in turn get ourselves started in the market. We have to learn about auctions, because auctions will make you rich faster than anything you could ever think of. We're going to talk about credit, how to get it, keep it, rebuild it. We're going to talk about looking at wholesale real estate. We're going to talk about foreclosures. And then we're also going to talk about how people go out and buy property and actually get paid to buy the property, and they build their level of financial security in the marketplace today. Now, there's not much written about the subject matter, but there's a very good article appeared in Reader's Digest, and it talked about the scandal of government auctions. And they talk about the fact that it's a buyer's tax, a buyer's dream, basically. It's a taxpayer's nightmare. But you got here in Sumter, South Carolina, Thomas Hall bid $15 and item number 142, and he bought it at the auction. It was worth $167,550. Now, he's going to make some money. Also, over at an auction here conducted by the United States Marshal. Now, this is what they call an absolute auction. There's 5 different categories, but this is an absolute auction where we got a boat at 65 feet in length. It's a fishing trawler. It's appraised at $50,000, and it sells at public auction to the highest bidder for $50,000. Now, what's so interesting about it, imagine buying a boat of this nature, and the interesting thing is there was 26 people there, 25 people just stood there and allowed Mark Lewis to go ahead and buy this boat for $10. Now, they all had excuses why they're not buying. And it would be, the mooring charge is too much money, and you got to clean the barnacles, and you got to do this, that, the other. And they've all got excuses to be poor. The interesting thing is you could just call a boat broker and say, look, I got a $50,000 boat here. I'll sell it to you for $20,000. You'd probably go through a red light to get there in a hurry before you change your mind. So again, what we're looking at actually is taking action to help yourself. And that's what this program, in fact, is all about. These auctions we're talking about, they're everywhere. Every community throughout the country have got them. This is an article out of the Los Angeles Times. Police departments enjoy a boom from their drug busts. Roving narcotics squads capture the cash, the cars, the homes from the traffickers. And the interesting thing is that these sales take place. People buy it, just pennies on the dollar, turn around and resell the items. A lot of my students just put it on eBay. And they're amazed at how much money they make as a result of understanding the different types of auctions. And some of you are going to say, well, I can just go to the net actually and I'll get all the answers. I'm afraid that's not true. We went and spent over a year of research coming up with answers of where you go. And not only that, you can actually travel around the world going to auctions for the purpose of making money and be on a tax deductible trip. And I think that's kind of exciting too. Here's an example of one of my students going to the sale, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. And it's a $32,000 Jaguar. That's the value of the car today. He paid $10,000 at the sale. He sold it a week later to a car dealer. Now, the thing is that this may not be that exciting, but just think about it. If you bought the car for $10,000, you could drive it for an entire year. You could actually sell it for more money than you paid for it. Now, if you think about that, how much money are you losing every year on that 1 or 2 cars you have when you could be buying them from the auctions? And the auctions take place nationwide, coast to coast, just a matter of learning where to go and what to basically do. Now, personal property auctions actually are cars. They're also like watches, for an example. Student buying $750, sold for $13,000. Buying a 2.5 carat diamond ring, paid $510, sold it for $4,000. What's exciting about this is you can make money. It's exciting to get out there and realize the money that can be made. Now, you've also got the real estate. Now, this is a very strong testimonial from Todd. It says here, since I took your training, I purchased 74 single-family homes and 2 apartment buildings. I owe this success to your knowledge and willingness in which you shared with others. Now, when we think about what we're talking about here is the fact that when he took my training, he was living in an apartment. And the interesting thing is, did he actually take title to all of these properties? The answer is no. What he did is he never qualified for a mortgage. He didn't have to have any credit whatsoever in order to do it. And later on in the show, I'm going to extend to you the solution, how you could do exactly the same thing. Buy 5 or 10 or 15, 20 properties there, actually never take title, put a lot of money in your pocket, all legally, ethically, and morally provided by law. And this, of course, is exciting. Jimmy Patterson, he's a student. He's going over to Georgia State University, and he finds information he can't find at the university that would help to make him rich. He went out and got his first house for $44,000. He improved the house at a cost of $6,700, changing its value up to $72,000. And that's about $21,000 profit in a couple of months. Now, the interesting thing about it, you'd say, well, gee, he must have a lot of money. No, actually, he didn't have a credit card. How did he get my course? He just asked his grandma to give him the money, and she did. You know, that's a savings there and a profit there of $21,000 in a couple of months. Not only that, he's only 21 years old, a full-time student going to school. You can do it too. It's just a matter of having the right system and following it to the letter. But you know, a lot of people get held back because of credit. And we're told that the majority of people in America today are having a great deal of credit problems. And the reason on it is because they don't take the time to learn about credit. And in the training, actually, I teach you how to get credit, how to fix your credit, repair that credit, and expand your credit. So therefore, we understand how to use a credit card to make money. Now, let's say you're going to that auction, and they got an item there that's worth $5,000. And you use your credit card that has a limit of $2,000 on it, and you pay $1,000 to buy that item. Now, you used your credit card, so you're using other people's money, basically. Now you sell that $5,000 item for a couple of $1,000s. You make $1,000 profit. You send a check off to the bank there for $1,000, reinstating your card back up to $2,000. So therefore, could you be doing this over and over again in a period of a month? The answer is yes. You could be charging $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 or $1,000 on that credit card, and then of course they're going to increase your credit limit so you have more money to work with, and of course using of other people's money. You're establishing credit. You're cleaning up your credit. You're using credit to work for you. Many people destroy their own credit. How do they do it? Let's take an example. You have taken a credit report on yourself, and your credit report there says that you got a good credit score there of 720, and you're pretty excited all about it. Now you go to the marketplace and out with a realtor, and he shows you some properties. He said, are you pre-qualified for a mortgage? And you say, well, no, but my credit score is good at 720. He said, oh, that's wonderful. Well, actually, what we need to do is get some paperwork for you. So they get some paperwork ready for you. And what he does, he goes and takes a credit check on you. And he then uses that information to maybe contact 1 or 2 other brokers who are in the business of arranging mortgages. And the brokers in turn then use that credit information to go ahead and get it out to the lenders, and the lenders in turn might take a couple of inquiries too. So before you know it, you've got about 5 different inquiries on your credit report, and of course you still haven't got any credit. Now, the house you were interested in buying, you've changed your mind. So 3 or 4 months later, you find the house you really want. So as a result, you make an application for credit, and you receive a letter that says, due to too many credit inquiries on your credit report, we decline to give you credit. So the result of that is that you're a little upset. It says there, send this letter off to the credit bureau for more information, and that's what you do. And therefore, they say too many credit inquiries. Now, the reason you've got all these inquiries is you allowed everybody to do it. In my training and understanding of credit, how to get it, keep it, rebuild it, you in turn are going to understand that you can apply to 10 different places for credit, have no credit inquiry showing on your credit report unless it's the one that's going to give you the loan. Well, this being the case, this keeps your credit well. It keeps you in a good position. And not only that, you can actually go and buy in many, many different ways. Some of these ways are actually extended to a lot of you viewers now who have Bill Gatton's course, because I took his course material too. Very, very helpful. Now, what we understand is we can keep our credit picture private. And you know, bankruptcy is not the end. I have probably viewers right now that maybe are on the brink of bankruptcy, their credit's no good, etc. I can teach you how to correct your credit. I can teach you, even if you filed a bankruptcy last week, how you could go out and buy a home in a matter of a couple of weeks and have a new home. So therefore, let's take action. Let's take action and make things happen. Here's a couple coming over from Europe. Now, once again, they've never bought any real estate. They have no money to speak of, actually. They decided to get my course. And at the end of a period of 12 months, they'd acquired 12 properties. Some of the properties they've totaled up to a total of about $3 million in real estate. And they said in their testimonial is that their net worth was only about $17,000 when they got the training. And now in their letter, they're up to $750,000 in 12 months. They said they're negotiating a brand new 16-unit apartment building for themselves at $1.4 million. It has about a $3 million built-in equity. And once they complete the transaction, they'll be worth over $1 million. You know, that's not bad for immigrants coming from the old world. But the interesting thing about it, as they were taught, what is the difference between a FICO score and a Vantage score? There's 3,000 different credit reporting people around this country, these companies. So you've got to learn the differences. Because I taught them what to do when they had no credit, no money, Denise says at the bottom, P.S., Denise improved her credit score from 540 to 797 within less than 3 months after getting the course. Incredible, but true. So what I'm trying to say is there's no excuse to be poor in America. It's a matter of you taking action and making something happen in that market. Is there a lot of ways to make a lot of money? Yes, there is. Actually, there's government grants. The government's giving out billions and billions and billions of dollars every year, and they give them out to poor people, average working people, and millionaires are getting free money from the government, and you could too. Now you say, well, I've always heard that that's only for poor people and welfare recipients. That's not true. Actually, you could be a real estate investor. You could own 10 or 15 properties out there. Could you still get money from the government? Yes, you could. Let me give you just one example, actually. You could go ahead and get a block loan. Now, a block loan is to pick up, fix up a house that you bought. Now, you might have bought that house and got it with like $1 down, but you still could get a block loan. Now, you fix up the property, you then contact the city comes over there, and they'll sign off that all the work has been done, and you followed the rules what had to be done there. And as a result, when that signature is on that hunk of paper there, you send it into the government. The government takes your grant loan and converts it to a grant, and therefore you never pay that money back. So it's now a grant where it's permanent for you. So that's just one example. I've taken tenants who are living in one of my properties who said that they were going to be moving because they're going to buy a house. And I say, well, that's fine. And do you have any down payment? Oh, no, I got very little down payment, but I want to buy a house. Well, the interesting thing is I've taken tenants in my own buildings and put them into a house that I in turn had acquired and sold it to them with a low down payment using government financing. There's all kinds of other loans that are available out there. Title I's for an example. The home that you're currently living in, you may want to put a new back porch on there. Maybe you want to put new cabinets in your house. You could obtain under a Title I. You can get up to $60,000 even if you have no equity in your property, in order to go ahead and improve your property. Anybody can buy through the Veterans Administration. Section 8 programs, those are rental programs. Many of the viewers right now have some properties there, maybe rented under Section 8. When I in turn decided to put a lot of properties under Section 8, I had approximately 50 properties that would qualify for some of these people for Section 8 programs. And I took time to really study as to what it was. And I had discovered that the government would like to rent your unit from you as an owner, but they'd like to rent it from you at below market rents. I found there that you could go ahead and apply and they'll give you more than market rents, but you got to understand it. And therefore it's exciting. At one particular point, I owned more properties in Northern California than anybody else that was rented under Section 8 programs. Special foreclosures, one area there that I've really specialized in. And the fact is foreclosures are there forever. A lot of people think that they're just temporary because we had a bit of a recession or something. Now we got to remember that properties go up and then they'll dip down a little bit, then they go back up again, etc. But during that period of time, you've got income producing property. So therefore, do the rents go down when all the properties go down? No, they're not. They just pretty well remain constant. Then when the properties start to go back up again, and we're right at the bottom of all the big bargains now, the properties are starting to go up. We got to take advantage of it. And then we're increasing the rent. We're getting more and more cash flows. Now, what's interesting about that is we take a lot of this extra money that we're making and we go out and we buy tax deeds. And when we buy tax deeds, we're buying property through the government, basically, and we're ending up getting properties at 30, 40, 50 cents on the dollar. What's interesting is we buy tax certificates. We can get tax certificates, which we might put money in a market, say you're a bank and you're getting 1% interest from them, and yet we could be buying a government guaranteed tax certificate and we could be getting 16% interest, 18% interest, 25% interest. Not only that, the government will collect the money and send you your money. Now, why would you ever be putting a lot of money in a bank in order to get 1% interest rates, which is really an insult, and then you could be getting 16, 18, 25% interest and guaranteed through the government? You know what's so interesting is it's not just average people buying. The big corporations buy, but they buy certificates over $1 million. The interesting thing is that you could be doing the same thing that they're doing, but you're going to be buying on a smaller level. You can be starting out with a certificate for $50. Well, why not do this? Why not do what the rich people do? Just copy them. And what I'm sharing with you, I'm not that smart. But what I found out, copy what rich people do. And you're going to end up with the same result. You're going to get rich at the same time. And that, of course, is what this program is basically all about. Free money. Let's take an example. After buying and studying your program, we applied and received $96,000 from the government as forgivable loans to rehab our apartments. Now, you can have 2 or 3 loans even on the same apartment building. This in this particular case here, Carolyn and Fred, they went ahead and did all the work themselves. So they hired out the work to be done. $96,000 is what the artisans were saying that they needed to pay to get all the work done. They got it all done for less than $50,000, so they had $46,000 left over. They got excited. They did what I talk about. Go take a vacation. They went over to London, over in Europe actually, toured Europe for a couple of weeks, etc. Flew first class, courtesy, free money, the United States government. And you know what's so interesting, and I might just mention, but I've taught people how to do this type of thing for years. I show you step by step what you should be doing in the marketplace to start getting some of this money. You know, I have students who bought houses for $1 full price, and then the government gives them all the money to fix up the properties, which they never had to pay back. You can learn to do this too. They're available, all communities throughout America, but you have to know what they are and how they basically work. You know, in talking about things of this nature, I have many of my students there who become millionaires and multimillionaires as a result of some of my programs. Here's Troy Spencer. In 72 hours of getting my course, he took that course there and he got right into it, and he wanted to know all about a contract. And as a result, he learned about a contract. He'd seen a property already, and he had made an application to go ahead and buy it, and he was turned down because he couldn't qualify for the loan with the realtor. Well, the result of that was, as a result of my program he then called our hotline. Our hotline said, here's exactly what you should do. Go back and see the owner of the property. Tell them that you want to put $30,000 cash in their pocket, and you have the way to do it. And he entered into a contract himself. He then assigned his contract over to another party as a result of the training, and he made his first $10,000. This is exciting stuff that you can do, and I show you what it is. Assignment of contract and or assigns. You know, you don't have to have a job. You could be unemployed. You could be bankrupt. You could have a job. You could be no credit at all. You got credit blemishes there. It doesn't matter. There's no licenses required of any kind. No financing required. In other words, you can go ahead and assign a contract. Now, many of the contracts that are used by realtors, and we should understand that a realtor's contract is for realtors. And it's not really a seller's contract or a buyer's contract. It's basically a realtor contract. And in his contract, he has you cannot assign the contract. Well, that's because he has a fiduciary relationship under law to get the highest best price for the owner of a property. So he sells real estate on a retail level. He's not selling wholesale. You have to negotiate to get wholesale. Now, if that is that assignment contract is in the contract that's being presented to you by a realtor, can you make the contract work? Yes, put a big line through it, have buyer and seller just sign it, and therefore you're going to sign the contract. The thing is, you see, we get all this information from poor people who don't know what they're doing, or they've got their hand in your pocket. I don't have my hand in your pocket. I'm not going to sell you any property. I'm not going to take a referral fee of any kind. I take no commissions. What I do is I teach you how I, in turn, originally got started and became a multimillionaire by investing into well-selected real estate. You know what's so interesting about what I'm sharing with you in that market is I've had my students over the many, many years say, boy, I like to be in touch with you all the time. So I created the Real Estate Wealth Insider. It's my audio CD that I send out every month, actually, and newsletter. And what I do is I give you a lot of information in order to help you, the latest trends that are happening in the marketplace, and maybe the best strategies for profits out there, and the best deals that are out there. And many times I do client interviews. And I'll do a client interview of somebody who has taken my training, who started out with basically nothing. Now they're multimillionaire. And many of my students, actually, you might have heard of some of them actually, have become multimillionaires teaching the basic principles of what I talk about. And I say to all my students, expand what I talk about, adopt it, use it yourself, help other people. There's lots of money. And people say, you know, I'd like to get this letter there. And you know, it's a bargain at $99 a month. It's an absolute bargain. I charge you a little bit for shipping and handling, but of course that's in. But I know that you want this, and I'm going to take a few minutes there. I know you'd like to get it for free, and you know, I can tell you how you actually can get it for free. And now I want you to hear this. You can't wait for success to happen. You got to make it happen out in that marketplace. You got to take action. And I'm showing you step by step by step of what you need to do to find financial security today. You say, I've heard about all these bank foreclosures are out there. And I go and talk to realtors, and they say, oh, yes, they're all experts in bank foreclosures. And they all talk about the fact that property was worth, $140,000 before. Upper left-hand corner there is now listed 110 as the big bargain. It's no bargain. It's retail price. That's all it is. The agents are trying to sell at retail price. You should understand that. Now, how come a student could go and buy it for $57,000, buy it directly from the bank? Because the agents do not have an exclusive right to sell these properties. What they've got is if they can find somebody who wants to buy them, the bank says, we'll pay you a commission. What we should understand is people are buying directly from the bank. And I have done this. And I bought as many as 38 properties in one calendar year from my own account. I work with other people. I help you to get a property. Sometimes I'll partner with you in order that we can make these deals happen. So you make money, I make money, and of course that's what it's all about. And you see all the different types of properties. Now, many times we're told, you know, if you're buying, say, a 10-unit building, of course, it's called a commercial property. Well, it's a real estate transaction, yes. It's income-producing property. That's true, too. It's residential income-producing. So another thing to understand is, what are you buying? Now, each of these different types of categories have a little bit different rules, but the overall system I share with you applies to all of these different types of property. Whichever type you want, the system does apply. Now, when we think of buying, can we buy with no money down? The answer is yes. And we look at foreclosures. What is the procedure? Well, there's a default. Well, after the default, there's a notice for sale, and then the property is sold at public auction. And the majority of these properties go back to the lending institutions. So can we actually buy from them? The answer is yes. Now, also, there's a lot of properties out there that are in pre-foreclosure. So therefore, what I do is I teach you what to do so you in turn can determine which properties you're interested in before they're actually up and advertised for sale at auction. So this is a pre-foreclosure. Now, my student's going out to buy this property here. It's being appraised at $285,000. He paid $156,000, no money of his own. He borrowed $13,000 from a friend. current, and he brought the first and second mortgage current. As a result of that, he in turn made his deal. Now you'll note here that he's doing it, there's no money down as far as he's concerned. What he's doing is getting a partner. He says to the partner, look, you'll put up the $13,000. We'll go ahead and put the deal together. I know exactly as to what to do. You'll get your $13,000 back first, and then we'll split the balance. Now, I have many students have done their first, second, and third deals under this particular formula. And therefore, but you need to know what I'm sharing with you to be in the position of having a partner who does feel comfortable in doing business with you. Now, we also have to take some personal examples. Now, this is a property here brought to my attention by Karen Lee. Now, Karen Lee is a student just getting started. She has a number of horses. She has a little ranch, etc., and which is great. Now, she's going out to try and find her first income-producing property, and she finds this one. Now, the property's been for sale, we were told, for 8 months. It's been in the hands of different brokers. They have not been able to obtain an offer on it. Now, she looked at the property, called the office, and said, I need a partner. And the reason was, well, what? Now, see, I have found this property on Brentwood Avenue. I've entered into a contract to buy it. I've got an exculpatory provision in the contract there. I've also got the right to assign the contract, and I need a partner who in turn will either work with me on the property or just buy my contract. So our office in turn said, well, I'll tell you what, it's not in our area. We'll have somebody go and take a look at it. I had one of my students take a look at it. He looked at it and he said, you know, actually it's right. Karen said that you could take the dining room and change it over into a bedroom. So instead of one bedroom units there, we got 2 bedroom units because the people could eat in the kitchen. He said, she said to you people that you could make $30,000 or we could make $30,000. He said, I think there's a lot more money in that. He said, I'm involved right now in about 4 other properties right now. I'm a little cash tight. He said, I would welcome a partner. And he said, Al, would you be interested? So it was brought to my attention. And I said, sure, I'll go ahead. I'll put up all the cash for it. And we'll just buy it outright immediately. We went ahead and improved the property. Now, I have a signature that I do with most of my properties, actually. And I, first of all, believe on really making the exterior of a property extremely nice. And with a lot of good fencing, this type of thing. Because I believe if you park the car on the opposite side of the street and somebody's looking at this from a distance, it looks awfully, awfully nice. Therefore, they're more inclined to want to buy it. They're not going to buy it the way it looks right here, but when they look at what I have to show them, then they want to buy it. Now, my purchase price with my partner there was $154,000. Rehab was $30,000. Now, the thing is, we could get 100% of that money through the government and to rehab the property, but we used our own money. We sold it for $275,000. We did this complete transaction in less than 2 months, and our profit on it was $91,000. Now, you might say, well, gee, that's a small little house, and can you do it on larger houses? Well, let's take a look at this one here. This one here is located in a place called Canyon Gate out in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's a large house, been on the market for many, many months, actually. And when they're on the market a long time, I like to look at property. It might be on the market 4 months, 6 months, that type of thing. And I just take a drive by the outside. If it looks good, then I'll call the realtor about seeing the inside. Well, actually, this looked pretty good. It was on a good street. Asking price $1,550,000. Nothing on the street is sold for less than $1,500,000. I said, hey, this could be a good one. I talked to the neighbors, and the neighbors said they've been trying to sell it for a long, long time, and they can't get a buyer for it. And I thought, oh, that's good, because they're probably having to pay a first mortgage and maybe a second mortgage, and pay the taxes and upkeep, etc., standing empty there nearly a year, I'm told, by the neighbors. I called the realtor and went through the property, came out, said, I want to make an offer. And he said, great. So anyway, we got paperwork out, and he said, okay, sir. He said, how much you offering? And I said, $950,000. He said, no, sir, you must misunderstand. This house, they're asking $1,550,000. I said, it doesn't matter as to what they're asking. They can't sell it. It's a way overpriced, therefore. And I'm going to give you an offer for $550,000 cash, and there'll be no contingencies and close in 30 days. He said, they won't accept it. That's ridiculous. He said, I'd be embarrassed to present an offer like that. I said, don't play God with their money. It's their decision. You present my offer to see what they say. Well, they had been there for many, many years. Even at a price of $950, they were probably going to be making some pretty good money. I did a research to the property, and in a matter of 24 hours, I knew when it was built. I knew if there's any code violations of any kind. I knew the title. I knew the owners of the property. I knew as to what the taxes were. I knew all about the property. So I had said to the agent there, I'll give an offer for $950,000. He just didn't like this at all. The interesting thing is the sellers wouldn't accept my offer as written. They gave me a counter offer, $970,000, and I signed it in a hurry. Now, here's another example of a little property out there that a person can do. Now, this property is foreclosed by the bank, and my son called on it, and it was $140,000 to $170,000 street. Now, we know if this property is going to be fixed up well, it could probably sell for $150,000. Now, we contacted the bank, and that was my son, and they said, would you entertain an offer on this property? And the bank said, yes. And he said, we had already researched it. We knew the bank had taken it back in at $82,000, that we'd give them $85,000 all cash and close in 30 days with no contingency. And the man said, we'll make it $90,000, you got a deal. Well, we didn't do that. What we said is no, actually, if we can't buy it for 85, we'll probably buy another property. But you're realizing here that you've got a non-performing asset on your books. We're going to take it off your hands, etc. Wouldn't it be nice to get it off your books? Well, as a result, the bank said, okay, we'll accept $90,000 for the property. And they asked a question, will that be a realtor contract or an investor's contract? And my son said, investor's contract. And the bank said, oh, then you really are investors, actually. Of course, that we will not accept contracts from realtors because their contracts are not acceptable by banks. We have to do our own contracts. And he said, we lose a lot of deals because of that, because the realtors work with their contract, and we want to work with our contract. So he said, this works out very well. So anyway, we went ahead and we got it. Once again, we went and fixed it all up a little bit, actually. And once again, it looks much different after we got finished. And as you can see there's a finished product. And you'll see here the numbers on this little property, actually. Our purchase price was $85,000, refurbishing $12,600, total cost $97,600, sale price $159,000, our profit $62,000. Now, the interesting thing about what I'm showing to you is that every one of you viewers right now could have bought that house with only $17 in your bank account, because you in turn are going to learn about equity lending. You're going to learn about how you in turn could receive your financing. Now, you're going to receive financing based upon the resale value of the property. Resale value of the property is $150,000. You can get $70,000 actually on it. No, you can get 70% on that property. So that's $105,000. You can get actually 105, pay 85. We've got 20,000 left over. That looks after refurbishing. You actually got cash at the close. You actually buy this property with not a dime out of your profit and ending up with a profit there of over $50,000. Now you will learn this, and my people on my hotline will help you. If it's a more difficult question, I'll get on the hotline there with you and I'll help you and guide you as to how you in turn can make a lot of money through this program. It's just a matter of taking action and making it happen, and this is what it's all about. This is cash at the close. $32,718 my student's getting cash that hasn't invested a dime. Let's take an example here. This is a little property I did with one of my students. This is out in the Los Angeles area. And the interesting thing is, there's a copy of my check. My check was payable to me, $280,000. I didn't get all that money. My partner got half the money. And what I'm sharing with you, you can do this. I even have an attorney here. In 3 weeks, he in turn gets himself out and gets his first rental property. He's got a cash flow now of $1,750 a month. He's increased the value of the property by doing small cosmetic things there, changing the value by $90,000. And I taught him how he could get all his rents guaranteed through the government. And you can do this too. The thing is so interesting As my attorney friend there says, your course was the best thing my wife and I have done to help ourselves attain our goal of being financially independent. And you know, this is for you. And you know, most people want to be rich. Successful people are committed to being rich. The key for you is real estate riches. It's education. It's getting yourself educated as quickly as you possibly can so you can enjoy the new lifestyle. You're going to have time for family. You know, it's interesting that part of my family there, my loved one said, this is in November. Al, we're going to the Orient, actually. We're going to be spending some time there for the month of December. We're going to be going to Japan and Thailand, etc. We'll be gone for about a month. Would you like to go? And I said, yes, I'm going. Well, that was wonderful. Now, interesting enough, this following Friday, I'm leaving for Costa Rica, and I'm going down there to visit some of my family, spend about 2 weeks down there with them. What I'm saying here is I want you to have the lifestyle that you deserve. You deserve a beautiful home. You deserve those cars. You deserve a family who are loving that you can spend the time with, where you're not tied down to a job. You're saying, Al, you're talking about me maybe getting a job doing the real estate. I'm not. You know, people get started here in their spare time, maybe an hour a week. Maybe 2 or 3 hours a week is all they spend to start that income starting in, which is so great. It allows you those vacations. And even a little vacation of like 3 days or something like that is exciting. You know, and what I do with my students, I say, look, I want you to get started there. In fact, I'm going to treat you. I will treat you where you can get your first little mini vacation with you and your spouse, actually. And I've got 26 locations all across America, including Honolulu, that I can send you there free. Free. In other words, your vacation's free. You just pay for your own airplane to get there, etc. But it's free. And I give this to my students because I want them to enjoy this better lifestyle that's available. And you've got all these tax savings there. Just an entry in your tax return. Because when you own these properties, the more that you have, the more tax benefits you receive. And now you have residual income. And as the years go by, your secondary income becomes surpassing the amount you have to have each and every month to live. You become financially independent. All of this is yours. It's just investing into yourself and getting yourself started as quickly as possible. You know, when we talk about, and you're saying, what's all in your course, Al? Because the course has been out there, hundreds of thousands of people, not only in the United States, but also Canada, New Zealand, Australia, and the United Kingdom use these principles. My other educators out there use a great deal of the principles I protected under my copyrights. Now, first of all, gaining financial independence. I give you a roadmap. I start you out assuming you don't know anything, and I'm going to move you along that ladder very, very quickly and show you how to get that financial security. One of the first places to look at is government auctions. I don't think most of you would think about contacting the Small Business Administration. Yet if a person goes ahead and starts a business, they borrow money. What do they give as security? Their house, their cars, their vacation property, fourplex or whatever as security. Now, 9 out of 10 of those businesses fail in 2 years. Well, the security goes back to the bank. The bank turns it over to the Small Business Administration, and the SBA goes home and sells those assets at public auction, which you can go to. You don't have to have any special license or anything else. You just know where to go, what to do, and I'm providing you with that information. I've got students mine from the Internal Revenue Service. Could you think about going out and contacting the IRS to buy a house? They sell them all over America. So therefore, they've got wholesale real estate, cars, boats, etc. You know, a very minimum investment in yourself is going to give you maximum profits. And you know, we take a look at controlling of our credit there. And you know, we think about it, people say, well, you can't buy because you don't have good credit. That's baloney. The thing is, yes, you can buy, but it's a matter of you understanding. And you know, one of the biggest secrets that's out there is called land contracts, actually, land contracts. And you know, the foremost expert in the whole country, basically, is Bill Gatton. I even got his material because I wanted to learn some of his secrets, and I've used his material in order to help me in building of my estate. And I've made multi-millions in real estate. And a lot of it is due to some of the principles I learned from Bill Gatton. I want you to learn also how to use these things. No qualifying required, and get out there and get a superior credit. And I'm going to show you how to do it there. Real estate investing there. How do you buy from the shadow inventory? Now you say, oh, I've heard about that thing. The shadow inventory is where you buy wholesale real estate. That's where you get it from. I guarantee that you in turn are going to have success. I'm so excited about what I talk about, what I teach, that I want you to actually get my training. I want you to go ahead and apply it to your own life. And I will guarantee you in writing where you can actually get my course and get it absolutely totally free of charge. You know, creative financing. That is a very important part, free creative financing. What is it? How does it basically work? And when we think about that, actually, is it possible to get zero financing? The answer is absolutely totally true. Yes, you can. You can get 50 ways to buy property with no cash or credit required. Different techniques that are there. It's called creative financing. Plus, I give you 100 different ways that are revealed, all in writing. A whole course on just about creative financing, how it can be used and applied to your own life, which is great. Now, what about a corporation? A lot of people don't understand. And one of the secrets actually is the Taxpayers Relief Act. And under the Taxpayers Relief Act, we can actually go to the marketplace today and we can make hundreds of thousands of dollars actually, legally, ethically, and morally, not pay any tax on April the 15th. You also are going to be learning about how to make yourself judgment proof. Instead of using your personal credit, you in turn can use corporate credit. In other words, you're going to learn that you in turn actually can go out and buy property legally and not qualify for anything. Now, your profits could be tax-free. This is very exciting for the average person to learn. Now, tax sales and certificates. And of course, the foremost expert in the country, of course, is Chris Johnson, of course. And I've learned a lot from Chris Johnson, actually, because he has taught me how I could go out and I could buy tax certificates. And I could get 16 to 50% interest legally on my money. My money is guaranteed by the government, and I thought that was exciting. In fact, I found it so exciting, I went and put a whole section in my training about how a person can do this type of thing and getting themselves started. It's the easiest, safest, and surest way to get rich. Where can you go and be getting 16, 18, 25% and more interest guaranteed by the government? I don't know of any place you can do it. And therefore, we take part of our profits and we invest into tax certificates and tax sales. Now, when we're thinking about building, we also are going to those auctions, and we got personal property auctions, cars, boats, and airplanes, etc. But then we've also got, of course, those auctions which are on the real estate, and we can get all kinds. You can get shopping centers out there, commercial properties out there, single-family dwellings, apartment buildings. In other words, there's no limit as to what you can acquire under personal property as well as real property at the auctions. Now, short sales and foreclosures. Short sales are great for a lot of people looking for a home. And therefore, they can buy them usually a little bit below fair market value. Basically, they're getting about 10% discount. They're excited about that. But on the other hand, where is the big money? The big money is basically in the foreclosures. Once you learn the system I'm talking about, you can actually be contacting the bank yourself. And they in turn are going to ask you some questions about whether you know what you're doing. I'm going to give you the answers. So you have the answers. They'll ask you about a neighborhood. Do you know the 14 different things that a lender looks at as far as a neighbor is concerned? Not likely. You need to know these things because when you start dealing directly with the bank, you in turn can buy their non-performing assets. Not only can you buy that with no money, they'll give you a loan to facilitate the sale. They can give you money to refurbish and fix up the property where you never have to pay this money back. You can determine your profits in advance. In other words, you're getting into the area of the hidden inventory that most people have never heard of. And the interesting thing is you can do this for the rest of your natural life. You will never be poor again by investing now in your success for your future. And we bring it all together there. Finding the properties, improving the properties, selling the properties, exchanging the properties. And the interesting thing is, it's so simple to get out there and get there. This is a program you can pick up and run with and get out there in the marketplace. The thing is, a lot of us procrastinate. We don't get out there and get ourselves started. You know, this is a testimonial that I really treasure because here's a man living in Orange County, California, and he in turn was out of work. And now, you know that we all hear people getting out of work at some time. He is exhausted his unemployment insurance. He doesn't have any. He's been evicted from his apartment. And he went out and he borrowed money. He went on a time payment plan just to get my material. And he went and borrowed money and bought my material. And this is his first transaction of what he's doing. Now remember, he's living in his car. He's unemployed, and he goes and he purchased 8 properties with no down payment and no closing costs. And he bought them directly from the bank using the forms I provide that are acceptable by the bank. He also went to a personal property auction, and he in turn bought a car, and he bought a car, red Maserati. Now what he's doing is buying apartment properties there, houses, etc., at big discounts there, at $260,000 less than what the local brokers are trying to sell him for. He's going out buying himself another car. He didn't like the one he had anymore at $10,000. You can do this. You can do the same kind of thing, but you need the tools, and I provide you with the tools that will give you the financial security. Now, my first course is Mastering Credit, how you get it and keep it and build it, etc. This is very exciting. Nearly 300 pages, both sides of the page, single spacing, because it's a whole manual, and you will use this course. You're going to be using it for years and years to come. Course number 2. This is really good. Auctions, the government auctions. You see, they change locations all the time. You need to get the source of where all the auctions are going to take place. Your trip to and from auctions can be totally tax deductible. You also can make a great deal of money by understanding what to do, how to do, and where they are. And that's what this course, in fact, is all about. Now, course number 3 is buying real estate foreclosures. Now, what I want people to do actually is go through their CDs, listening to the CDs first before they ever contact the bank about buying the foreclosures. So I take you into all the various areas of foreclosure, the buying, the selling, the owning, etc., and growing of your own personal estate through this training. And then creative real estate financing. You know, I've asked many realtors, how many different ways do you know how to finance a piece of property? And they'll say 3, 4. The best I ever get is 5. And yet I'm supplying for you over 150 different ways to finance real estate. I got real estate agents and brokers who've been able to quadruple their incomes in 90 days. My students have to teach the agents how to put the deal together, because that's why our students are far richer than the average person who's in the area of organized real estate as a broker or agent. So therefore, you're going to learn. I'm going to teach you. This is very, very exciting what we can do in the marketplace. Now, this is where I give you an overview. This is an overview because a lot of people don't remember everything. They're listening to my CDs, they're watching my DVDs, etc. They don't remember everything. So this is what I call a quick start guide. It's a financial workshop where you take a look at it. And therefore, we deal with the areas. For an example of how to buy. And in fact, I even have some of the material right in the manual that has come directly from Bill Gatton, because it's so exciting out there. And you're going to learn what the principle is with Bill. And I have the overview of what the credit's all about, what financing's all about, and the new Taxpayers Relief Act, which went into effect that last year, how you can be using these tools in order to get yourself rich. And therefore, it's a good primer to get yourself started in that marketplace out there. Now, when we think about what we've been talking about over here, oh yes, I just about forgot about the huge bonus there. Remember I said about the fact about maybe getting my my Real Estate Wealth Insider absolutely totally free. Now it's $99 a month, and I do charge a little charge there for shipping and handling, $5. It's really nothing. But when I used to have this available for anybody who wanted to buy it. Anybody wanted to buy it. The only problem I had people calling in who bought it. They would then call in and say, you were talking about a wraparound mortgage. I don't even know what you're talking about. Well, then our question was, well, do you have the course? They say, oh, no, I didn't buy the course. I just got the newsletter. And we say, well, look, if you have the course, you would have known. You would have known and understood what some of these creative ideas are. So I had to cut it off. I have to make it available. It's only with my course, okay? And $99 a month there. And, you know, I've added there, I want to give to any of my students there, the first couple of months absolutely totally free of charge, just, well, except for a little bit of shipping and handling there. And you can cancel anytime. You receive it for a couple of months. You evaluate it yourself. And you know, the interesting thing is 94% of the people who get my newsletters, they do not cancel. They keep it because it's so valuable of what they want. And if you decide to keep going because you're my student. You're going to get a special discount. Therefore, I give you a quadruple discount there. It's only $37 after the first couple of months that are totally free. Real estate news, advice, updates. I'm sending it from my door to your door every month to keep you involved in the easiest, safest, and surest way to get rich in America today. And that's what is now. In summary, you've got a course on mastering credit, a course on government auctions. You've got a course there dealing with bank foreclosures. You got 100 and different ways to finance properties. You got your workshop there, a complete set of forms and contracts. And you know, this is $3,790. The value there is unreal because if you look at it, you can make that in one deal. If you go to sell your home, just do the things I tell you to do. You in turn will probably make an extra $10,000, $15,000, or $20,000 just by having my course. Even if you never bought another piece of real estate, you definitely have to have this course material. And I guarantee it in writing. I guarantee it where you in turn will be able to make my course free. Think about it. All this information absolutely, totally free for you. And therefore I give it to you in writing. I don't give you 30 days or 60 days or something like that. I give you a full 180 days. Buy a little property, resell the little property, send me the details of what you did. I'm going to send you 100% refund on your investment in yourself, and therefore you'll keep your course, and therefore you'll keep involved and keep on making money. And it's so exciting, and this is available to you today. Now, you know, when we talk about today's manuals, I got 6 manuals out there, 14 CDs, 8 DVDs, $3,790. And that's for everything, actually, what we're talking about over there. There's free bonuses available to you. And Bill is responsible for a lot of these extra bonuses there. We have the 2-day Millionaire Summit out there, actually 2 tickets out there. If you were not a student, that's what you'd have to pay. But as a student, you go to that for free. Actually, we hold them periodically throughout the country. As a student, you'd be advised of where they are in your particular area of the country. You have a helpline there, telephone service there, no charge whatsoever for a lifetime. You can call 3-5 years later. We still will help you, no charge. 2 personal consultation sessions there to help you get over that hump of getting out there to get the second and third deals, etc. Real Estate Wealth Insider there. You got that. Quick Start online training. Whoops, it slipped over the wrong side there, but that's okay. You know the whole value here? $10,000 of value. It's an unbelievable value. And yet the interesting thing is I'm taking you by the hand and I'm showing you as to what to do to get started. But we're not interested in you paying that kind of money, $10,973. You know, that's the value of the whole thing. What we are talking about is you understanding, well, getting your course, getting your manual, making it actually happen for you in the marketplace there. You've got 14 CDs. Now, just think about all those CDs. You're going to be able to listen to those CDs at home. You're going to be able to put them in your car. And then in order to help you also on your financial strategies there, I'm putting in 8 DVDs. Now, the interesting thing about that, these are 8 DVDs, and you're going to meet some of my students. You're going to meet them where they got started absolutely worth nothing. And they're telling you how you in turn could become financially independent. Doing any one of the various techniques they talk about. Or you could be using a combination of them. You've got a disc there. It gives you all the different forms there. Forms and forms and forms out there. And not only that, you're invited to a live training. There's no charge for you to go to a live training. You've got hotline service there. If the hotline actually is not available, that can answer a question for you, it's referred to me. I in turn will call. Interesting enough, actually, I will maybe call 2 and 3 times to get you. Sometimes I can't find you. I ask you, call me back. I will share with you. I'll give you my expertise to help you to find financial security, and you give me nothing more than just being the fact you're a student, quick start, etc., and the Real Estate Wealth Insider. Now, $3,700 for a lot of you people is a lot of money. We understand that. So what Bill has done with me, he said, look, Al, I've got to have a bargain for these people. People have gone and listened to me at the big conventions with the real estate annex there. I've talked to like 10,000 people, 4,000, 5,000. They all paid a lot more money than this. This is only available to you. It's not available to the general public. It's only available to you. But you must take action. You must take action. What I want you to do is go to the website. I want you to go to the website right away and go ahead and order, because I don't have enough for everybody out there. But what I've got actually is very, very valuable for you to learn as to what to do in that marketplace. Now, when we think about it, that arrow that was pointing down there was important. It was talking about you ordering. This is what you're ordering. You're ordering a lifetime of understanding of how to build financial security for yourself as well as your loved ones. And the interesting thing is the value there is unbelievable. $995 to learn as to what to do. Now, I want you to go to your website right now. I want you to go ahead there, and I want you to go ahead and order your course. Now, what I've also got there is a secured automatic ordering system there for you. It's totally secured, actually, guaranteed. And the phone number is 866-745-6225. Now, once again, we go back and think about what is available to us in this course. Now, when you think about a course of this nature, you might say, well, gee, I'll start in the beginning, or I'll start at the end, or I might start, in the front. Don't do that. What to do is think about what's most important to you. I want you to go and listen to the CDs first. Listen to the CDs first. Do not look at the DVDs. CDs first. And then you will make a decision at that point. What is the most important area for you to go to? Then you go to that particular area of the course. The course is all blended together. I repeat myself many times over to help you to understand what you in turn need to do. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead to your website now, and I want you to go ahead and order now. It's albertlowrycourse.com/forward-bill. Now that's albertlowrycourse.com/forward-bill. Now, there's one thing also I didn't mention actually. I do not have a lot of courses available because I put a special extra bonus in for Bill's people actually, and this I don't do normally. I've been involved actually in travel for many, many years. And Bill said, can you do something for my people, actually? He said, I talk to them every month. He said, can you do something extra special for them? And I said, Bill, I talk about people having a little vacation all the time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give every one of the people who order their course today, I'm going to give them the opportunity to go and enjoy the beach or go golfing, skiing, or more. I have 26 locations across America, including Honolulu, Hawaii, and therefore they who order the course can also bring somebody else with them. And in many cases, they can have suites actually that are there, and they're free, and they can take their family, etc. So they can have a vacation. And the thing is, it's going to be in the course. Actually, I've had it put into 50 courses. Only 50 courses have got it in there. And so therefore, I want them to go ahead immediately and order. Now, the thing is that in ordering, actually, what is very, very important for them to understand is that you have to order. You can't get the free location unless you get the course. You also are going to get your CDs, which is on your monthly newsletter. I'm going to send 2 of those out to you, absolutely, totally free. The major thing is you have to take action. If you don't take action, who's going to do it for you? You all hear about people not being able to retire. You hear about the 1% who are getting so wealthy. The 1% who are taking this type of training are all investing in real estate. You need to invest in real estate. It's easy, it's simple, it's sure. You need to take action right now. I want you to go ahead, albertlowrycourse.com/forward-bill. Now I've got automated ordering available to you, and therefore it's 866-745-6225. And once again, albertlowrycourse.com/forward-bill. And you're not only going to get the entire course, but I'm also going to give you an extra bonus there, whereby you've got a little vacation. It's good for an entire year. so you can plan when you would like to go. If you're in the northern part of the country, then you might want to go to the south. Maybe you'd like to visit one of your family in another part of the country. Maybe you'd like to go to a special wedding or something. This is all available. Use the course, actually, to get rich. Use the vacation. The vacation is probably worth more money than you're investing in yourself. Not only that, this course could in fact be totally tax deductible. So you've got a $995 figure. If you in turn take off your tax deductibility there, you're going to take off maybe $200 to $300. The course is down to costing you maybe $600. This is the best investment you're ever going to make. The thing is, take action now. albertlowrycourse.com/bill. Thanks very much for being with me, actually. I enjoyed and I had a lot of fun being with you, but I'm giving you some of the secrets of what I have used and my students have used to become financially independent, and you can do it now. It's take action and your life will change for the better. May God bless each and every one of you, and thank you for once again for staying with me through this presentation. Once again, order your course now. I only have 50 available with the free trip in it. There's only 50 I've given allocated to Bill Gatton. So therefore, albertlowrycourse.com/bill. Thanks very much. God bless.
Hey, Al, thank you so much. That was a great presentation. I tell you what, we've got a couple questions, got a couple flags raised. If somebody has a question for Al, be sure and raise your flag. Right now, what we're going to do is, let's see, I don't want to raise my flag. We're going to unmute a couple folks. Ed, for example. Ed has a question. Ed, are you there? Let's see, unmute. Okay, we should have Ed. How about Garfield? Garfield, you are now unmuted. It's Garfield McNair. What do you have, Garfield, for, and don't forget to unmute your phone in case you're muted.
Bill, I have one problem. The speaker is not loud enough for me to be able to hear those questions clearly. So
I'll repeat them for you.
Is if they could just go ahead and shoot us an email, we'll give them an answer by email. But the thing is, what they need to do right now is order their course, because the orders are going to come in. There's only 50 available. I don't want them to miss out on the free vacation there, because there's no more, just 50 of them. That's all there is. But if they just email, because I can't hear the questions with the PA system here, or whatever it is, but I can't hear the question. So just email over to us, and in turn, we'll get right back to you. Thanks very much.
Yeah, you can, I'll tell you what, Garfield, if you're still on, send me an email, bg@landtrust.net. In the meantime, I did have a couple closing comments I need to make. As I promised you guys, we're up to about, another 5 minutes, and we're going to have to shut it down. But in the meantime, in order to get the Al Lowry course in your hand, what I've decided to do, and please, for those of you who paid full price for my course, don't hold this against me. But what Al is offering is valuable enough that what I'd like to do is, for today, and today only, and no kidding, ever, I'd like to offer our course for $9.95. So for less than many of you, and I'm sorry guys, but we need to do a special here. For less than many of you have paid, the standard lowest price for our course ever is $21.95. So for today and today only, what we will do is match Al's price if you ordered both courses, so that you're now joining us and our network and ordering our course and getting everything we have to offer, plus everything Al has to offer, at less than you would pay just to join our network. So it'd be $9.95 today only, and then Al's course is, I think it's $9.95, and you will end up with everything that anyone ever wanted. Now, one thing I want to mention is this. You know, with the new Dodd-Frank legislation out there and so forth, we need to discuss it on a fairly regular basis. So my next newsletter is going to be concerning Dodd-Frank. And remember, too, that anything that Al would do, whether he's dealing in foreclosures or whether he's dealing in grant funding, whatever it is, will not violate any federal regulations, any